Zangia Academy.
Чадвараа хөгжүүл ирээдүгөө бүтээ.
Сайн байцгаана уу? Ахисан дунд буюу upper intermediate шатны 2 дугаар хичээл болох бүх цагууд болон идэвхгүй хэвийн тухай хичээл маань эхэлж байна. За ингээд хичээлд орцгоё.
Okay, so let us begin. So first of all, we're going to talk about present simple and present continuous. So present simple tense. Present simple tense talks not only about present situations, it talks about future plans too. So when we are talking about present things, we can talk about something that is always true, about permanent situations, short actions, and also habits. So those are the things that you do constantly, permanently, or that are things that are universal truths. За тэгэхээр та бүхэн маань ингээ одоо цагт бол зөвхөн одоо цагийн биш бас ирээдүйн цагийн ярьж болдог. За одоо цагийн ярьж байгаа тохиолдолд бол тогтмол хийгддэг, зуршил болсон ертөнцийн үнэн тиймэрхүү зүйлс ярих жахт бол та бүхэн present simple tense ашигладаг байна. Okay, let's take a look at examples. For example, you can say 2 and 2 makes 4. So this is the universal truth. I live in London. This is a permanent situation. What about short actions? He takes the ball and scores a goal. So that's a short action. And what about habits? She plays tennis every Tuesday. Those are the things that are repeated once in every month or week or day. It can be any kind of repetition. And what about future actions? When you're talking about timetables, for example, our train leaves at 11 a.m. So in this case, you use present simple. However, you're talking about future action. And also, when you are talking about, when you are using time clauses in the future, for example, I won't go until it stops raining. So this is a conditional time clause. The condition is for the rain to stop. And if the rain stops, you will go out. Until this, you won't. So in this case, you're talking about a future action and you are using present simple tense. Okay, let's get to present continuous. Present continuous can both be used for present actions and for future actions too. So when you're talking about present actions, you can mention unfinished actions in the moment, temporary situations, temporary habits, or some annoying habits, right? Let's look at the examples. For example, I'm working at the moment. So you are doing something currently at the moment, but it's not finished yet. Secondly, I'm living in London. Maybe it's a temporary situation. Anyways, at the moment you are living in London. So this can be temporary or any kind of situation. As for the third example, he is eating a lot these days. So it's a temporary habit. Maybe it's related to the emotional situation, emotional state. But anyways, these days, the specified days, he is eating a lot. And the fourth case is about annoying habits. For example, you are forever losing your keys. The sentence is written about a person that loses his keys all the time. So when you're talking about annoying habits, you can use present simple tense. What about future actions? When you're talking about definite future plans, you can use present continuous. For example, I'm meeting my father tomorrow. So it's a definite future plan. So you can use present continuous tense. Okay, then let's take a look at present perfect and present perfect continuous. So present perfect simple, it can be used for both finished and unfinished actions. So when you're talking about finished actions, it can be a life experience, news, recent events. It can be a present result, an unfinished time word. For example, I've been to Tokyo. It's a past experience, it's finished. One doesn't tell about when did you visit to Tokyo. Anyways, you've been to Tokyo. The second example is the Queen has given a speech. So it's a recent event, and you're talking about a recent event, but it did not specify the exact time frame as it would have been specified in past simple tense. Okay, what about present result? I've lost my keys, so I can't get into my house. So, anyways, in the past, he lost his keys, and now, due to the fact that he lost his keys, he cannot get into his house. Fourth, unfinished time word. I haven't seen her this month. Anyways, this month is going on, but during this month, he hasn't seen her. So in this case, you use present perfect. What about unfinished? Unfinished actions. When you're talking about unfinished actions, you are talking about the length of a particular action. For example, I've known Karen since 1994. So it means that he met Karen in 1994, they got acquainted, and since that he knows her. So it means the length. And also, she has lived in London for 3 years. So you can use present perfect simple when you want to specify the length of a particular action. Okay, what about present perfect continuous? They both can be used for finished and unfinished actions. When you're talking about finished actions, it is related with the present result. For example, I've been working, that's why I'm tired. So this action started in some time in the past, it continued until the present. And now, due to this action, something happened in the present. So he started working, he has been working until now, and now he's tired, right? Okay. And what about unfinished actions? When you are using present perfect continuous for unfinished actions, you first of all are talking about the length of a particular action. How long did it take, right? And also you're talking about temporary situations. Let's take a look at an example. I've been living in London for 2 years. So he has started living in London 2 years ago, and he is living until this particular moment. And also, it's the second example, and she has been working here since 2004. And in this case, you also use present perfect continuous tense. In terms of the temporary situations, I've been going to the gym a lot recently, right? So you're not talking about something that would be lasting forever, but anyways, it started in the past and it has continued until the present, the moment you're talking about, or the moment when you are talking about this situation. За тэгэхээр present perfect simple болон present perfect continuous-ийн тухайд бол past simple-аас ялгаатай өнгөрсөнд хэзээ эхэлсэн тодорхойгүй үйл явдлын тухайд ярьдаг. За present perfect simple бол өнгөрсөнд тодорхойгүй хугацаанд болоод дуусчихсан үйл явдал тийм үү? За мөн түнчлээ одоо би тэр одоо Karen-ыг одоо 1904 оноос хойш мэднэ гэх юм бол тодорхой хугацаанаас хойш үргэлжилж байгаа үйл явдлын тухай ярьдаг. За present perfect continuous-ийн тухайд бол ганц ялгаа нь тэр өнгөрсөн тодорхойгүй хугацаанд эхэлсэн үйл явдал нь яг ярьж байгаа өнөө момент хүртэл үргэлжилсэнийг хэлж байгаа юм байна. Тийм ялгаатай. Okay. Let's talk about past tense. So past simple and past continuous. So past simple tense can be both used for when you are talking about past actions and also when you're talking about present or future actions. So when you're talking about the past, it's finished time word. So it means it is finished at exact time spot. Specify when you have finished this action. Also when you're talking about details of news, when you're talking about actions and stories. Let's take a look at the examples. On examples. I went to the cinema yesterday. So yesterday, you went to the cinema. It's exact time spot, right? Yesterday, last night, in 2003, 6 months ago. Those are time specifiers. And also, Leonardo painted the Mona Lisa. So in this case, you can use past simple tense, right? I've hurt my leg. I fell off a ladder. So in this case, you can also use past simple tense. You are describing the reason why you've hurt your leg, right? And also when you're talking about actions and stories, he sat down and ordered a coffee, right? This is the sequence of actions. He sat down first and then he ordered. In this case, you can use past simple tense. Yep, okay. So when you're talking about present and future actions, you can use past simple when you are talking about something unreal, imaginary. For example, if I won the lottery, I would buy a house. So this is called the conditional clause. There are 4 conditionals, right? 0 order, first, second, and third order conditionals. So this is a conditional clause. Okay. What about past continuous? Past continuous tense, generally you use past continuous tense when you're talking about an action that was going on during a specified time, specified moment in the past. So there is an action in the past, and there is also an action that was happening during this action in the past. So this is past continuous. So you can use past continuous when you're talking about overlapping action, story background, some past habits, emphasis on length of action. So let's take a look on examples. I was walking to the station when I met John. So there is an action in the past. I met John, right? It's in past simple. When I met John, I was walking. So this walking action was happening during when he met John. What about story background? The birds were singing and the sun was shining. Amy sat down. So it's describing the background of the story, right? In this case, you can use past continuous tense. Then also, you can use past continuous when you're talking about some past habits. She was constantly singing. It's a past habit, right? And the last case is I was working in the garden all day. So when you want to specify the length of the action, you can also use past continuous tense. За тэгэхээр past simple болон past continuous юусан гол онцлог гэх юм бол past simple өнгөрсөнд яг тодорхой нэг моментод болсон үйл явдлыг тухайлдаг. За би өчигдөр юу гэдэг кино үзсэн. За өчигдөр нэг юм хийсэн. 2 хоногийн өмнө нэг юм болсон ч юм уу тий. Энэ тохиолдолд бол та бүхэн past simple дээр ашиглан за дараалын дагуу хийж байгаа үйл явдлын тухайд за ago тий 10 жилийн өмнө би одоо их нартайгаа танилцсан. Одоо 2 жилийн өмнө би юу гэдэг юм хүүхдтэй болсон ч юм уу тиймэрхүү зүйлийн тухай хугацааг бас specify хийсэн байна шүү дээ тийм ээ. Тийм зүйлийн тухай ярьж та бүхэн past simple-ыг ашигланаа. За past continuous гэдэг бол ерөөсөө өнгөрсөнд нэг болцсон одоо үйл явдал шүү дээ. Тэр үйл явдлын үед эд өрнөжсэн зүйлийн тухай ярьж та бүхэн past continuous-ыг ашигладаг байх нэ. Okay, next. So what about past perfect and past perfect continuous? Past perfect can be generally, we use past perfect when we are talking about an action that happened before a certain action in the past. So there is an action in the past, one action, which is written in past simple tense. And we use past perfect when we are going to talk about an action that was before this action. So this one is past perfect and this one is past simple. So you have to understand this in conjunction with past simple tense. Past simple and past perfect are tied up together. Okay, let's take a look on situations in which you use past perfect. So when you're talking about action that is finished before another action in the past, so that's what I did just say, right? When we arrived, the film had started. So one action in the past is the arrival, right? They arrived. And before that, the film had already started. A second, when he graduated, he had been in London for 6 years. So when you are talking about the length of an action that happened before an action in the past, you can also use past perfect tense. And the last one is when you are talking about unreal things in the past. I wish I hadn't gone to I hadn't gone to bed so late. So it's unreal because it's just a dream, or how to say, it's something that cannot happen, but it's just regret. some kind of a regret, some kind of a thought that it would have been much more different or much better if you did something in the past another way than you did in the reality. Okay, and past perfect continuous. Just one difference from past perfect is that action that happened in the past before one action in the past was taking place until this one. Okay, for example, she had been singing when I got home yesterday. So one action in the past is I got home yesterday. This is in past simple. And she started before this, and she had been singing until this moment. So she had been singing until I arrived yesterday. So this is past perfect continuous. So when you're talking about how long to a point in the past, and also result at a time in the past. So let's take a look at examples. She had been working for a year when she met James. Yes, so she met James in the past. And before that, she was working, and it took a year to meet James, right? So in this case, you use past perfect continuous. And also, the pavement was wet. It had been raining. So it had been raining, and due to that, the pavement got wet. So in this case, you use past perfect continuous. So past perfect болон past perfect continuous-ын тоод бол үндсэндээ past simple тоолных холбоотой явдаг. За past simple дээр өнгөрсөнд одоо болсон нэг тодорхой үйл явдлыг бичээд тэрнээс өмнө болсон зүйлийн тухайд бол past perfect-ийг ярина. Өмнө болж эхэлчээд тэр үйл явдал хүртэл үргэлжилсэн зүйлийн тухай ярихад past perfect continuous ашигладаг байгаа. Okay. So future simple and future continuous. So future simple can be expressed in two ways. First is will, and second is to be going to do something. You can use future simple when you are talking about future prediction, promise, request, refusal, offer, and also future conditionals, plans and intentions, and also any kind of future predictions. So let's take a look at an example. The sun will rise at 7 a.m. It has exact time spot in the future. And also, when you're talking about any kind of promises, requests, refusals, you can say, I'll help you with your homework. So I'm promising that I will help you with your homework. So in this case, use future simple. If it doesn't rain, we'll go to the park. This is the future conditional, right? It's a conditional clause. And when you are talking about plans and intentions, you should use to be going to. For example, we've run out of milk. I know, I'm going to buy some. So this is a future plan. The sky is getting darker and darker. It's going to rain. So it's when you're talking about future prediction, you can use to be going to. What about future continuous? You use future continuous tense when you're talking about an overlapping action, and also when you're talking about a future as a matter of course. For example, I'll be waiting when you arrive. The government will be making a statement later. So there is an action in the future or a time spot in the future, and when you're talking about an action that will be continuing during this future time spot, in this case, you use future continuous tense. За тэгэхээр та бүхэн маань future simple болон future continuous цагуудын тухайд бол future simple ирээдүйд яг тодорхой мөчид болох үйл явдлын тухайд бол ярихад ашиглана. За мөн амлалт, за таамаглал, за төлөвлөгөө тийм ээ. За future continuous-ын тухайд бол ирээдүйд нэг тодорхой цаг хугацааны момент эсвэл ирээдүйд болох тодорхой хугацаанд болох үйл явдлын үед өрнөж байх үйл явдлын тухайд та бүхэн маань future continuous цагийг ашиглана. Okay, the last two tense, future perfect and future perfect continuous. So when you use future perfect to express how long to a point in the future, and also when you're talking about an action that's finished, that will be finished before a point in the future. So let's take a look at the examples. When we get married, I'll have known Robert for 4 years. And the other one is by 10 o'clock, I will have finished my homework. So there is an action, a definite action in the future, which is written in the future simple. And an action in the future perfect will be will be finished before this action in the future. Take a look on the first one. When we get married, it means future, an action in the future, when we get married. And she will have known Robert for 4 years. So this action of being in relationship with Robert will have already taken 4 years at the moment when they will get married. So this is the future perfect. This is the complete mirror of the past perfect. You know, in past perfect, you have an action in the past and one action that happened before this action in the past. Just mirroring this into the future, you will have the same future perfect. So future perfect and past perfect are just mirrors on the timeline. This is past perfect. This is future perfect. Okay. And when you are using future perfect continuous, you are talking about an action in the future that will be continued until a certain point in the future. So the difference between future perfect simple and future perfect continuous is just one is the future perfect is the action that will be already finished, and the future perfect continuous will be used when you're talking about an action that will be continuing until the certain point in the future. За тэгэхээр future perfect болон future perfect continuous. Тэгэхээр та бүхэн маань үндсэндээ past perfect ерөөсөө толин тусгаал ойлгож хэрэгтэй. За past perfect яадаг вэ? Өнгөрсөн тодорхой моментод болсон үйл явдал. За тэрнээс өмнө болсон үйл явдлын тухайд ярихад past perfect ашигладаг. За тэрнийг ингээд цаг хугацааны timeline дээр эргүүлчлээ гэж бодоход ирээдүйд болох тодорхой хугацаанд болох нэг үйл явдал эсвэл ирээдүйн тодорхой цаг үеийг тавьчаад тэрнээс өмнө ирээдүйд дууссан байх үйл явдлын тухай ярихад бол future perfect ашигладаг байна. Future perfect continuous-ийн ганц ялгаа нь тэр ирээдүйд болох тодорхой моментос өмнө эхлээд тэр хүртэл үргэлжилж байх үйл явдлын тухай та бүхэн ярьж байхдаа future perfect continuous ярьдаг байх, ашигладаг байх нэ. Энэ future perfect continuous-ийн жишээнүүд гэдүүлээ харъя. In April she will have been teaching for 12 years. Тэгэхээр ирээдүйд 4 сар боллоо тийм үү? За 4 сар боллоо гэхэд тэр эмэгтэй аль хэдийн 12 жилийн турш багшилсан байх болно гэж. Энэ бол future perfect continuous байна. Сүүлчийн last example харъя. When I see you, I will have been studying, so I'll be tired. Үндсэндээ чамайг одоо би харах үедээ одоо би ирээдүйд одоо тодорхой момент нэгэд одоо чамтай уулзнаа тийм үү? Тэр үед би нэлээд удаан хугацаанд сурж байсан байх болно гэж. Тэр момент хүртэл үргэлжлээд сурж байгаа байна шүү дээ. Тэгэхээр та бүхэн бас ялгаагүй future perfect continuous-ыг ашиглах нэ. За passive voice идэвхгүй хэв те. So when we use passive voice, it's very important, right? So when we don't want our subject to be in the center of the sentence, when we want to switch the focus of the sentence, we use passive voice. There are 6 cases. First of all, when you want to change the focus of the sentence, you use passive voice. Secondly, when the subject is unimportant or obvious, or you're talking about people in general. Third, when you are writing some factual or scientific stuff. Fourth, you can use passive voice in formal writing instead of using pronouns. Number 5, when you want to improve your style and insert new information at the end of the sentence, you can use passive voice. And also, you can use passive voice to replace subjects that are too long. За тэгэхээр идэвхгүй хэвийн тухайд бол үндсэндээ та бүхэн маань өгүүлэлт хүнээ голчилж ярих биш, өгүүлэлт хүнээ илүү төрхөө ярих гэж байгаа бол идэвхгүй хэвийг ашиглаж болно. За өгүүлэлт хүн чухал биш, эсвэл угаасаа ойлгомжтой, эсвэл одоо ерөнхийд нь хүмүүсийн одоо нийтлэг жишээний тухай ярих гэж байгаа бол та бүхэн маань бас идэвхгүй цагийг ашиглаарай. Альбом болон шинжлэх ухааны хэл ярианд бол ашиглагддаг. Мөн одоо альбом бичгийн харилцаанд бол ашиглагддаг. За өгүүлбэрийн одоо төгсгөлд одоо юу гэдэг юм? Хэм маягийг сайжруулах үднэс бас шинэ мэдээлэл нэмж болно. Жишээ нь we will be studying by the textbook which is written 2 years ago ч юм уу те. Бид нар одоо сургалтанда ном сурах бичиг ашиглана. Тэр нь одоо 2 жилийн өмнө бичигдсэн гэж юм тийм өгүүлбэрийнхаа төгсгөл дээр тэр ямар сурах бичиг гэдгийг тодтогч өгөөд бас илүү чимж өгч байна. За сүүлд нь болохоор одоо өгүүлэлт хүн өөрөө асар урт байгаад гэх юм бол өгүүлэлт хүнээ тэр чигээр нь орхиод өгүүлэлт хүнээ одоо өгүүлбэртээ гол болгож яриад явахдаа бас passive voice ашиглаж болно. So how you make passive voice? Those 8 tenses can be transformed to passive voice. For example, I'm making a cake. A cake is being made. I was making a cake. A cake was being made. So as you can see, there are 4 tenses that are absent, right? So those 4 tenses you cannot transform to passive voice. Those are called non-passive tenses. Technically, you can transfer them. However, English grammar prohibits transforming those tenses in passive voice because it is believed that if a sentence is written in those tenses are transformed in passive voice, they lose their focus and their meaning. За тэгэхээр одоо passive voice-ийн тухайд бол та бүхэн анзаарсан бол 8 цаг байгаад байгаа. Уул нь 12 цаг үдэхтэй цаг байгаад байгаа боловч 8-ыг л ерөөсөө идэвхгүй хөвлөө оруулаад байна. Яагаад вэ гэхээр англи хэлний дүрмийн дагуу энэ 4 цагийг одоо идэвхгүй хөвлөө хувирахыг бол хориглодог. Яг уу техникийн хувьд бол элдэрийг хувирахч болно л да одоо болохгүй юм бол байхгүй. Зүгээр яг өгүүлбэрийн фокус чиглэл нь алдагдана гэсэн, утга нь алдагдана гэсэн утгаар дүрм англи хэлний яг дүрмэнд энэ 4 цагийг идэвхгүй хөвлөө оруулахыг бол хориглодог байгаа. Гэхдээ яг нэг spoken English буюу ярианы англи хэл дээр бол эдгээр цагуудыг бол хамаагүй угаасаа passive voice оруулаад ашигладаг. Гэхдээ та бүхэн маань одоо цаашдаа IELTS TOEFL өгөх гэж байгаа хүмүүс бол энийг бол маш их сайн анхаарах хэрэгтэй. Энэ бол академик хэл дээр бол том алдаа тооцогддог. Энэ 4 continuous цагийг бол таад маань passive voice руу оруулж болохгүй шүү. So that's all for today. We have totally recalled all 12 active tenses and also all passive tenses. I hope the lecture was useful for you. If you didn't understand anything, repeat the lesson, repeat it, listen it again, stop it, listen again and again, and eventually your listening skills will improve and you will fully understand what I'm talking to you in English. So that's all for today. Bye-bye.